Florida may be known for its sunshine, but it's also becoming a rising hub for cybersecurity innovation. The NYSE and Night Dragon recently teamed up for Cyber Florida, a series spotlighting top industry leaders, the tactics they're using to combat today's growing cyber threats, and the expanding role artificial intelligence plays in strengthening their defenses. That includes James Foster. He's the CEO of cyber platform IronCircle. He told me where his firm fits in the larger cybersecurity ecosystem.
IronCircle's got a really unique space in cyber. We are helping build and refine and forge, as we like to say, the next cyber workforce. We're the largest provider of educational training to higher ed in North America today. We've been around for quite some time. And what we're seeing is the demand for our platform and the demand for cyber talent has never been greater.
IronCircle has built strong partnerships with universities in Florida. Can you share which institutions you're working with and what those collaborations actually look like in practice?
We've actually been working with organizations at the universities, enterprises, governments in Florida for quite some time. Florida's relatively unique, and I would give them full credit for being innovative here in the United States, for their desire to grow their cyber workforce and just grow their skill set as a state and region. They've had something called Cyber Florida for several years. It was a public-private partnership designed to train, improve, and bring talent to the state of Florida. And we've been supportive of that Cyber Florida partnership. We've also worked with amazing universities such as University of Central Florida. We work with University of Florida. We work with governments in the city of Miami, for example. And we've trained thousands of students in Florida to help get them jobs. I will tell you, again, Florida has done a really interesting thing here in the US as it's brought this demand. There's over 24,000 current openings for cyber-related jobs in Florida today. And there's thousands of them in places that aren't commonly thought of as tech hubs in the United States. There's 4,300 open jobs today in the greater Orlando area. I mean, we're just seeing really interesting demand down there.
Why do you think we're seeing such a high demand?
Part of it is the macro. LinkedIn just published a report here last month that said that the number of companies looking for cybersecurity skills is up 75% year over year. This was just published last month, 75%. And the number of postings with required cybersecurity skills is up 31% year over year. However, there is a gap because the number of profiles, the number of individuals on LinkedIn that have added cyber to their portfolio, to their resume, to their profile is only up 4% year over year. That gap is widening. And I think the challenge it's creating is our adversaries are seeing this. They're seeing the demand here in the United States and in North America in particular, and the number of jobs that are open is at a record high, and we just don't have the talent today to fill it. And everybody's thinking that AI is going to take this opportunity and run with it. Certainly, AI will make a much more effective workforce short and long term, but there is a gap, and it's growing, and it's the gap that we aim to help close.
And I understand that you also work with veterans. Can you talk more about the idea or concept of reskilling, and how are you helping veterans transition and build new careers in cybersecurity?
I don't think anybody argues that the next kind of warfighting stage that's out there, outside of some of the other things that we're working on as a country, like space and overseas, is the cyber front. And we have military apparatus today in the United States that addresses kind of this cyber war that is happening all around us. Veterans coming out of the military have really interesting training and kind of foundational principles that don't have a lot of corollary in our university school systems today. For example, when you come out of the military, whether that's the Department of Defense or whether you're a civil servant, you've probably been trained in things like defense in-depth strategy. And that means like you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. We have a defense in-depth strategy. You've got different layers of defense between an adversary attack and kind of the crown jewels that you're looking to protect. They also are trained in arts around persistent threats and persistent warfare from our adversaries. We have adversaries that are constantly attacking this country, are attacking our organizations, whether those our enterprises or government institutions, they're always under threat and under attack. And understanding this is a really important mindset when you go into the cyber workforce, because these enterprise organizations in the United States, the ones that are thriving and driving our economy, are under constant attack. And AI is increasing that volume of attack that they're under. And so we look for that mindset on top of just the general mindset that you get when you come out of the military. These veterans have things like security clearances, and security clearances are operational currency in this market. It allows you to have different types of jobs. It allows you to bypass that really long security clearance process. And then we found that it is gold for our veterans, and we're really trying to bridge those gaps for them. And then last but not least is you get kind of exposure to advanced technology in our military that a lot of our veterans have. They can bring that exposure and that experience right to the front lines in our enterprises. We found that adds a lot of value in the entire ecosystem.
You know, you talk about these wars, these cyber wars, these adversaries. What do these attacks look like? How detrimental can they be? And can you provide examples?
Sure. I mean, we see enterprises attacked in this country every single week. And it is an unfair fight for almost all of them, because you're going up against a state-sponsored adversary, a state-sponsored organization that's coming after you, or you're going after a very sophisticated cyber criminal network that again is looking for financial gain. And so the big trend over the last few years has been ransomware, right? Ransomware is still in vogue, and it's when an organization attacks an enterprise, locks up some systems, locks up some key data, and then basically puts that organization at ransom and says, if you want it back, you've got to pay X amount of money. And we've seen ransoms in the millions of dollars. We've seen ransoms as low as the tens of thousands of dollars. And I think they've got some real sophistication on who they attack and the types of ransom they hold those companies up for. And I think what's happened here is the industry is changing in such a way that insurance companies now are protecting those organizations. People are getting cyber insurance, and then they're paying that ransom. And so it's created this flywheel effect of folks have different layers of protection. They've got defense and technical protection, and they've got financial protection for insurance. What we see, though, is the workforce needs to continue to adapt, and they need different types of training. I like to say that you can't learn cyber in a lecture hall. You can't learn it by reading a book. It's got to be hands-on. It's got to be immersive. And we are the best in the world at immersive cyber training. We're the first one with Apple Vision headsets where you can literally put on our headset, step into the IronCircle, and get transported into the job of the future of this is what it's going to look like when you're on that front line. And we found that really decreases the ramp time for an individual going through our programs and then getting a job and getting placed and being part of the good fight.
Thanks, James Foster, IronCircle CEO.